Hello there and welcome to another stamp class. You know my name, it's Elizabeth, and we are here for this class in the Seeing Ink Spots Backstage Pass. So if you're seeing it, you're a member, which is awesome. Tell your friends they too can be members of the Backstage Pass, where they can see some fun stamping weekly with me. So, all right, today's class is called Use It Up, and my Use It Up class focuses on using up paper and embellishments and things rather than diving into all new product. So I am using up today, I'm going to use up the Garden Walk DSP. So I featured this in my stamp camp last fall. And this is a fun pack of paper, but you can see I have a lot left, and so I'm trying to use some of this up. These are great prints for all year round, and they're some of my favorite colors in this pack. So this is what I'm using. Hello, Kat. It's good to have you here. I am also using up the Blooming Pearls that we used that coordinated with this designer series paper. I'm using some of these up from that camp as well. I'm also using up the Calypso Coral braided trim. So if you attended that stamp camp, you have these three products. And then I'm featuring this cute stamp set today called Fluffiest Friends. And I know this is backwards to you, but you know, pretend. Anyhow, this stamp set here comes with a set of dies. I'll be showing the dies today as well. I think I brought them. Nope, I didn't bring them. Oh, yes, I did. They're over there. Anyhow, this bundle is really cute, but where do you find this bundle? This bundle is part of the online exclusives. So you're not going to see it in a catalog. You will see it in the online exclusives. And so the online exclusives, folks, are really cool. And it's there. Stampin' Up! Is calling our catalog and the online exclusives together. That's known as a blended storefront. So this is part of our online storefront, and it's really fun. This is a red rubber stamp set that is a cling mount, but it's the classic red rubber. So here's one of the images. So if you're into that classic red rubber, there it is. So now, how do you find it? If you're on Stampin' Up, go up to the top where you have the search bar with the eyeglass and just type in Fluffiest, and then you'll get there. So that's how you can do that. Or you can just click on the online exclusives and you can look at everything that's an online exclusive. That's where you'll find some things that have not yet been retired that are from like a past catalog. So there it is, a little bit about that. So hello, Kathleen. Hello, Lori. It's good to have you here. I'm gonna flip my camera around and we're gonna go through just a little bit of announcements and what is coming up. So here comes the hand. Sorry about that. You know what, hold on. Before I do that, I forgot to say the official good Thursday morning and welcome to Use It Up. Today's class is Fluffiest Friends. Now we can turn. Have to be official. That's my favorite part of the class. Good Thursday morning. Okay, yes, I'm a little weird. I know. All righty, here, folks. Coming up, we have, let's see, I'm trying to get some of these shadows out of the way. That's better. Next week's class will be right here on Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, and I'm going to feature the Be My Valentine suite. You can find this suite in the mini catalog, and it is right at the very beginning. So the very first start, so on pages 8. All right, there's some great samples there to catch your attention, things that you can case. Here's the suite collection itself on page 9. And on page 10, you'll see a close-up of the rubber stamps. So this is a photopolymer set, and then it is combined with a bee builder punch. So I'll be showing all of that and some extra samples of this next week. Be here for that fun class. I think you're going to like it. All right. And that will be next week. on the 19th at 10 o'clock. Following the next week will be my Technique Time stamp class. This class is going to feature this bundle right here on page 13 of the January to April catalog. And it's really cool. It's an interactive stamp set and dies that allows you to kind of pull things away and have hidden secret messages. So if you'll look in the stamp set, it'll say like open here, pull. So it gives your recipient some clues that they need to pull away and see something. So we're gonna use that. And I just noticed that on Instagram and Facebook, Stampin' Through the Catalog is featuring this set today. So go see what they've made. It's really, really pretty. All right, so that is next, that's in 2 weeks. The registration deadline is the 19th. I will tell you, if you have a purchase with me for $50, you're gonna get this class sent to you for free if you use this host code. If you use this host code and spend $75, you're gonna get this class and my Use It Up class called Trusty Tools. That will be coming up, so you get 2 classes for free. So you might wanna do that using this host code. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Plus, you get a free celebration reward if you purchase $50. So it's a win-win-win. All right, so that's coming up. I'll leave this host code here for just a little bit. Then in March, in February, I'm way ahead of myself. In February, we will upstyle our paper pumpkin, for sure. And in February, that's gonna be a fun month. This is where we're going to be using the Beautiful Brayers. That's the name of my camp, is Beautiful Brayers. We are going to be using, you'll see on pages 18 and 19, we're going to be using this little bundle right down here. And this is gonna be a super cool camp. It is Studio Ink Spots, so it's a 4-day camp. And we'll have 4 stamp classes, 4 presentations, game night, garage sales, virtual swap and share. All kinds of fun in this camp is coming up. You can see all of the details on my blog. And that it's going to be from February 9th. That's our game night. And then there's a few things prior to February 9th. During the week, there's some challenges and mystery stamping and our garage sale. And then the 15th through the 17th will be our 4-day intensive. Hello, Jacqueline. She is here watching today. Good to have you here. So be thinking about that. This is going to be a fun, fabulous camp. I've already started working on it. And let me tell you, projects are cool. All right, today's class, we're here. Done with the announcements. This is the Fluffiest Friends class. And again, you'll find this bundle in the online exclusive. So let's take a look at the bundle. Here is the stamp set. And here are the dies. And let's just kind of go over these dies a little bit here so you can see how awesome. This is really a cool bundle. I will say some fabulous things about this bundle are that it is the red rubber, right? That's cool. And that's one really great benefit. And then the other benefit is, look at all of these dies. Each one of these little images here has a coordinating die. So you can cut out the bunny, the chick, the beaver, the cat, the bear. All of them have these matching dies. Even the nest has a die, all right? And this nest can be a bird's nest or it can be like a beaver dam. Just depends on what you like. And then there's some of these accenting pieces. So there's a couple pieces of grass. So you can cut grass. You can cut a branch, balloons in a couple sizes. There's this adorable beehive. And then the rest of all of these little pieces are leaves. And so we're going to be seeing all of these today. Well, not all, but most of these. We'll put them into action so you can see. I have die cut ahead of time just so you don't have to sit here and wait for me to die cut. But let me know, what do you think about this bundle? I think it's really cute and I really like it. I'm using today a few, because you'll notice there's no greetings. I'm using a few greetings from the Be My Valentine set. I just really love this. You're as sweet as honey. And I just think that's really cute with this big bear. So I've been combining that. I think I've made like 5 or 6 cards with that combination. Anyhow, and this gives you a little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming next week. Hello, Alicia. Good to have you stamping or just watching today. So anyhow, that is what we're working with today. Let me slide these just right back in here. I store my dies on a magnetic sheet, and you'll notice I put them in backwards. But I do that so that I can easily slip the tab in and not get kind of caught up in any of the dies. That's why I do that backwards. And then I can still read what set it is from the back. Okay, on with the show. Let's stamp. Let's get going. Let's move this train along. Okay, let's see. Our first card, we are going to make a Valentine featuring this cute beaver here. So we're going to use the beaver, and we're going to use what looks like a nest, or I'm going to call this a beaver dam. So we're going to use those 2 pieces. And let's see here. We are going to stamp on some white. So I've just got some white paper here, and I'm going to stamp. So my card, let's start with our card base. My card base is going to be Misty Moonlight, and you can see it's a half a sheet of paper, so it's 4 1/4 by 11, and I've scored it at 5 1/2. Okay, so it's a half a sheet of paper, hot dog style, Misty Moonlight. So that's my first color, and then paper-wise, I'm going to dive into here and find this piece right here. I love this print right there. We're going to use that. And so this is going to, totally help me out with my color palette here. So this paper has some red. It has some shaded spruce, but I'm really kind of working off of the red, the pink, and this little bit of Misty Moonlight that could actually also be boho blue. And of course, some wild wheat. All right, so I'm going to do that. And so I'm going to cut myself a piece of DSP, and I've already cut my piece down. This piece measures, let's see here, folks. I'm on my glass mat. You can earn this glass mat for free. I talked about this last week. It comes with a really cool chamois and a really cool silicone craft organizer little piece. Anyway, this piece here, my DSP, so I'm just looking at my glass mat here, and it is 3 1/2 inches wide by 4 3/4. So trim your DSP. Here's your DSP here. Trim this down to 3 1/2 by 4 3/4 inches tall. Okay, so there's my first DSP. I also have some paper in here that I've pre-cut a square. This is the largest square. It's in basic white. But I've pre-cut this using the Stylish Shapes. It's the largest square, so that's going to come into here. And then I've also pre-cut myself a piece of boho blue. And so you'll notice that it's also embossed. I'll talk about the embossing, but let me tell you what the size is. The size is going to fit just inside the stitching line of my largest square here from Stylish Shapes. And so this measurement, let me see if I can remember, it is 2 5/8. So 2 5/8. So let's glue that. But I want to also talk to you about the embossing that I have on here. So I've pre-embossed it, so you didn't have to watch me do that. And I have used one of the folders from the Basics Folders online exclusive combo pack. And it's a 3-pack of embossing folders. It's got this cool crosshatch design. Okay, that's one of the patterns. And I have that folder right here. You've seen me use this one before. This one is such a great embossing folder for all kinds of things. It's what I call neutral or generic. So there's that one. It also comes with this hobnail kind of like a dot, but it looks more like hobnail once it's been embossed. I'm going to use this one today as well. And then there's a third one that's kind of a busy crosshatch. It kind of has a star pattern in it. So, and I don't use that one as often, but I use those two all the time. So where to find those? They're not in a catalog. They're in the online exclusives, which is where you'll also find the Fluffiest Friends. Okay, so I've got these pieces here, and I also have a piece of white, and this piece is cut to be a layer right underneath this one. All right, so I'm going to mat my DSP on a piece of white. This piece is a 1/4 inch bigger, which gives me that 1/8 inch layer. So this piece is 3 3/4 by 5. So let's just layer these all up. Look how cute that print is right there. I really enjoy that print. Okay. I'm just looking at my original card over here to my side, going, where did I put the glue? I mean, not the glue, the ribbon, because I don't want to not sandwich my ribbon at the right time, but we're good. We're fine. Okay, so here are my pieces, and these 3 pieces are going to add on to my card like so. But here is the scrap from, so the DSP here that we were using, this is the back side. So let me bring this piece back out. This is the back side of the DSP. So I'm going to use this to give just a little bit more design to my card. So my card layout is going to look something like this. But I'm also going to add this strip right in here just to throw in a little bit more color and make it kind of cute and fun. And at the same time, we're using up the DSP. Don't just admire it in the packages. Go ahead and use them up. So this is 2.5. It's because my designer series paper was 3.5 inches wide. So I want it to be 4 1/4. Okay. Get my little garbage bucket. All right, so that's ready. Now I can layer all of my pieces on my card so that then we're ready for the cuteness to come. So this piece here, just give this a quick bit of glue. So just curious, you guys, tell me if you have this stamp set. Tell me if you've looked at it and thought maybe you might want it, or is it not your style? Tell me what you think. Do you have maybe a stamp set or something in one of these new catalogs, or in the online exclusives or celebration that you really love, that you're like, hey, are you going to stamp with that? Point it out. Talk amongst yourselves. In other words, make a few comments. Okay, so there is the start. And then this piece here, and notice I'm gluing all of these. I'm not doing my usual all the dimension. I've been kind of gluing more and then just popping up with dimensionals the focal point. That's kind of been where my design process is going lately. Okay, now this one, instead of a square, which would be totally a cute layout, I've decided to change it up a little bit. And let's see, I'm gonna rotate this. Okay, and we're gonna lay this guy just about center. Okay, so there is my layers. Here are all of my layers for this card. Again, this is Misty Moonlight, Boho Blue, and then the Garden Walk DSP. So now this is going to set the stage for what we're going to stamp. So let's just do a little bit of stamping. So I am going to stamp with, since my background, my card base is Misty Moonlight, I'm going to stamp my main images with Misty Moonlight. That's kind of my modus operandi. Okay, so I'm not seeing any comments here, folks. So maybe you guys are, and they're just not populating into my my view here. Sometimes it takes a few minutes. So there was Misty Moonlight, the beaver. He's so cute. And I love that he's made a dam, and then he's also made a cute little Valentine heart. Okay, so both of those were stamped in Misty Moonlight, and I already have some die cut here, so we'll use these. Okay, and I'm gonna bring in a piece of scratch paper here. Here's this side. Okay, so here's some clues. I've been working on the Studio Ink spots with the brayer. All right, with these two cute pieces here, and I have one more piece that I'm adding to the mix here. This is one of the circles from Stylish Shapes, and this one measures about 1¼ inches across. So that's how you know which one you're looking for. But it perfectly fits. And so this is what I said. I'm using some of the greetings from Be My Valentine. So here's the love you. I thought that would really kind of pull up this little heart that he's holding. And so I'm going to stamp that just right in the center of my Stylish Shapes circle. Okay, so my stamping's done. This one I'm going to set aside. Okay, we'll set that aside because it's going to go on the card. I just got ink on it. Man, oh man. Bums me out. Hold on. I have a sand eraser here somewhere. Here it is. Let me see if I can get that off. Sometimes it'll come off if you do it quick enough. And sometimes it's a hand-stamped token of love. And you go, oh, well, it's there. But look at you guys. It came off. Again, you just need to kind of attack that as soon as you can. So this is a non-Stampin' Up! Little gizmo here. It's just a sand eraser. I don't know if you have any of these. I have 3 of these laying around. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so now I'm going to turn to my favorite way of coloring, and that is Stampin' Blends. So we're going to use a lot of blends today. You put my stamp pad away. So for our beaver, we are going to use several colors here. We're going to pull in some wild wheat so that we tie in to the wild wheat of our designer series paper. I'm also going to use some pecan pie. We're going to make this little beaver, pecan pie and wild wheat. And I'm getting a little bit of help from, this is the Ivory Stampin' Blend, okay? So those are going to be the colors for my beaver here. I'm going to use the wild wheat for the dam. Let me turn it this way. I like it that way. And I'm also going to use some Poppy Parade, okay? And you'll see where the Poppy Parade, I'm sure you can guess where it's coming. So let's just start with this cute little beaver and how to color this. And this is going to look a little strange at first, but then when we're done, it's going to look really cool. So I'm going to start with light wild wheat. And I'm going to kind of come in right around his eye, and I'm just going to kind of make some stripes in here. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm trying to avoid the heart. We're just kind of adding some wild wheat in here. And actually, I don't really even want to color behind. So what I want to do is actually, I know you can see through the heart, but on my original, I actually colored the heart in. I thought it was a little bit cuter that way. Gave it just a little bit more definition, the little Valentine. So I'm going to do that again. But anyhow, I'm just going to kind of do, this is dark wild wheat. And you're going, what the heck? That guy looks a little bit weird right now. But it's going to look so good. This is light pecan. I'm just going to kind of blend into this. Okay. Hi, Terry. Now this is dark pecan. And I'm just going to kind of come in and around his ears just a little bit. Come in to the top of his head. Get the side. Really kind of get his face going here. And then we'll get some more pecan pie here. Okay, kind of get out into his scruff. Okay, so hopefully he doesn't look quite as weird as he did just a minute ago. And I'm going to go back to my wild wheat and just kind of add some of that wild wheat to blend these three so it doesn't look quite so stripy. And it gives us that nice underlying wild wheat tone that is going to really tie into our DSP nicely. Okay, now that's looking good, but I want to move to the ivory. And so it's this ivory that I'm going to kind of come in here, get his nose, get his ears, okay? But I'm going to avoid the heart. Just use that to blend in. So color over that wild wheat and just blend all this in. And look how cute he's becoming. All right, so now for the heart, I'm going to use dark Poppy Parade, and I'm going to draw. So he's made of Valentine. He's used his sticks and he's made of Valentine. Okay, just coloring right in here. All right, and I'm going to use the light Poppy Parade to color the inside of the heart, just to make this heart pop out just a little bit more. Cute. Maybe just a little bit more dark in here. I'm just going to kind of give it a little dimension. Okay, I'm liking that. I'm going to come in and I'm going to get just a little bit, this is dark pecan, but I just want to kind of come in under his chin. And then a little bit of wild wheat, just to kind of, and then I'll blend that in and up with more of the ivory. Just blend until you get the look that you're going for. But I think it's cute. Now I'm going to use dark pecan pie and light pecan pie. I'm going to use dark for his little hands. Newell says it's pecan. Now, I like pecan. Okay, again, I'm not seeing any comments. So hopefully you guys are there. Okay, a little bit of, this is the dark, and so I'm just kind of following that crosshatch pattern on his tail. And I'm going to take my light pecan and just blend this dark. Stop it. Newell, see what? Oh, out go the dogs. Okay, that's all I'm going to do on this cute little beaver. So that's ready. I'm going to keep my wild wheat nearby, and that's what I'm going to build his dam with. And I am going to do this. I'm just going to add a whole bunch of, this is light wild wheat. And I'm just doing, I am not worrying about staying in these lines perfectly. Oh, there's somebody outside. The dogs are going crazy. Okay, so this is, I'm doing quite a bit of light here.
Brian, knock it off. Come on, Busto.
On my wild wheat. And then I'm going to take the dark wild wheat and just kind of hit where I didn't do the light, just to give this a little bit of variation. Especially down below, it's going to show just a little bit more. So yesterday I woke up and I just kind of grabbed my phone, and before I got out of bed, I was looking at Facebook a little bit, and my brother-in-law had posted a question if it was safe, what the driving conditions were over in eastern Idaho. And I thought, what's up? And then I scrolled down a little further and noticed that it was a snow day. So yesterday was the first official snow day that I've had here living in Star. And I looked out the window, and there was about at least 6 inches of snow everywhere. It was pretty wild and crazy. But it was fun. It was really pretty. It has warmed up quite a bit, and a lot of it has melted, but kind of fun. Had a snow day. Okay, so my layout's going to look something like this. I think he turned out super, super, super cute. And you can see I'm not worried about you know, I've just added color. Just put it in there. Okay, another item I'm using up for this card. This is the ribbon. What is this called? This is Night of Navy. I think it's called Night of Navy bordered ribbon. But this is something that we used back in the, when we did our Park Days stamp camp. And look at this. It's a good thing that's where I'm putting my ribbon. I've got blue ink on me somewhere. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, but let's see if we can, well, I've just put my ribbon there. It's a little low. I wanted it a little bit higher, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap my ribbon around, and I'm not gonna tie a bow. I'm actually just gonna kind of cut my piece here. Okay, so that's my ribbon. It's gonna go work itself around like that. So use this ribbon up. This is a great ribbon. Even though it says Night of Navy, look how great it is with Misty Moonlight. It really is more Misty Moonlight. Then I've got a couple, this is what's left of my Baker's Twine Essentials. I have a little bit of white. So I could do a white bow or I could do a linen thread bow, either one. I think I'm gonna do linen thread. Okay, and I'll just get some of the crazy curl out of that. Cut myself a piece that's long enough to work with. Okay, set that there. And I'm going to run this underneath. So you've seen me do this before, but I kind of like this touch. You could just tie a knot in your ribbon here, but I like linen thread. So I'm gonna, instead of tie a knot, I'm gonna tie a knot with linen thread here. Okay, wiggle this inward just a little bit. Okay, so obviously I'm gonna trim that end, but before I trim that end, I'm gonna tie that good and tight, and I'm gonna tie a knot just to really hold it in place. Okay, now I can pull on my thread, my blue ribbon here. Give a good pull on that. And I can tie the bow, and then I'll trim up the blue. Okay, and maybe even the linen thread. Okay, so here we go. It's a little crazy, so let me even these up. Oh my gosh, look at that, you guys. They're even already, but they're just a skosh long, so I'm gonna trim them even still. And let me just do a quick look at my blue here. It's like, which way is that gonna go? Okay, I'm trying to get the blue to lay flat. There we go. So I'm gonna give my blue a little trim on this side and then a little trim right here. Okay, there you have it. There's our ribbon accent for this card. Now let's bring in all of our pieces and some dimensionals and we'll finish her up. Okay, let me just flatten this. Okay, so my damn it. We're damming the river. Okay, here's my dam. And this one's gonna kind of come down right in here behind the ribbon, or in front of the ribbon, but behind this kind of accent. Then let's do our critter here. I'm gonna do one up on top, and then so that I don't have colliding dimensionals with another layer here, I'm gonna do my dimensional there, and I'm gonna sit him on top of his little dam. So cute. And then the love you. We'll put a dimensional on the back of that. This is going to kind of be right up here on this side, looking cute. And to finish this, I am going to use, let me show you these. These are part of the Be My Valentine suite. And these are enamel flowers and hearts. They are, let me bring this up. Let me bring in some white here so you can see that. See how cute these are? Super, super cute. I'm gonna use the hearts on this one. Get my hobby blade here. And I'm gonna take a little one of these hearts, a little heart, and I'm gonna put that right over the V. Wiggle it down just a little bit more. It does cover the whole thing, but you have to get it just right. Okay, look at that. Is that cute or what? Come on, focus, camera. And then we'll do 2 more. Let's do a large heart here and a small heart right here. That way I kind of have my working triangle, okay? And there you have it, folks. A very cute Valentine featuring the Fluffiest Friends beaver. I think it's cute. If the comments would work, I hope that you would think it's cute too. Okay, here's my original that I was working off of on the side of me. Fun stuff. You can see I kind of did a different placement on the paper. But the reason I had to put my paper this way was because I thought I was going this way, but my card was upside down, so I had to switch it. I had mounted it shut. So, okay, I'm gonna put these away. You'll see these next week. There's our first Fluffiest Friends card with the beaver. I'm gonna put the beaver away, put the dam away, and we're going to move into the cat. I like this cat. He's kind of sassy. So we're gonna stamp this cat in green. So I'm gonna bring my white paper back in. And for this card, I am using shaded spruce for all of my stamping. And again, this color came as, I took a cue right from the DSP, and I'll show you the piece of DSP we're gonna use, my favorite piece of DSP from that set. So we need a cat, and we need to die cut that with the die from the set. So let me pull out my pieces here. So you can see I've done that already. So let's color this cat. Let me bring my crazy piece of scratch paper back in. I'm gonna put shaded spruce off to the side, and we're gonna color this cat. We're going to use Petal Pink. I'm gonna use Soft Seafoam. We're gonna have a green cat. It's a little weird. And then I'm using just a little bit of boho for the center of the flower. And I'm using Flirty Flamingo for the pot. Okay, so let's just color this little dude up. I'm gonna start with my light colors first, and I'm gonna start with light Petal Pink, and I'm just gonna give this cute little face. I don't know if that's how cats' faces are, but for me, they are in this one. Okay, so that's Petal Pink, and I'm also gonna color the petals of the flower with Petal Pink. Just a little bit of color there. And we'll do the center of this flower blue. Okay. And let's see, I'm also going to use a little bit of shaded spruce in here today. So I'm using light shaded spruce and dark shaded spruce. Okay, and so here's my light shaded spruce. The light shaded spruce, I'm just gonna give him a little tap in that nose and a little tap right here in this leaf. That was light shaded spruce. Here's dark shaded spruce. And I'm gonna do just a teeny bit and just a teeny bit. Okay, it gives just a little bit of interest. You can see it in person. You probably can't see it through the computer. Okay, so a little bit more of dark Petal Pink. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of dot these petals, and we'll do just a little bit, just to give it a skosh. Just a little bit more, emphasize it just a little. So that was my Petal Pink. I'm done with that for right now. Done with shaded spruce for right now. So then the rest of this, let's do the pot first. The rest of this, the pot is gonna be Flirty Flamingo. So I'm gonna start with light and just color the whole thing with Flirty Flamingo. That was light. Then let's use dark to come in here and hit these little sides here. Give it just a little bit. So I've added some dark. Hopefully you can see that. And then I'm gonna take my light and I'm gonna pull that dark into the center of the pot, okay, to really kind of blend that. And so if I've got the dark on the outside and I'm bringing it to the inside, it gives just a little bit of dimension, like the light is hitting the front of the pot, makes it a little bit more round. Okay, that's it on the Flirty Flamingo. And that's it on the Boho Blue for now. Same with the Shaded Spruce and the Petal Pink. So let's go to the main color here. So I'm working with Soft Seafoam. This is a color I don't use very often, but I'm just gonna color my whole cat green. You're going, what are you making a green cat for? Okay. And this tip is a little dry. I may need to replace my Soft Seafoam. I'm trying to get just a little bit of color in there. I think I'm gonna have to use this other end to really get it going. Okay, come in and around, get into his paws, his tail. Could be a girl cat, I don't know. Okay, just coming around. Filling this in with more of the light. It is such a light color. I'm gonna see if I can get some more. Okay, so that's my light seafoam. Now I'm gonna come in with the dark and just come in here. Oh yeah, this is a much better pen. And hit all of these little marks where Stampin' Up! Has given, like, you know, where they're a little extra furry. Get under his chin, the top of his head, these arms. Just have some fun. That's the motto, the name of the game, just have some fun. So adding in some green, and now I'm gonna blend that with my soft, just a little bit more. So I'm gonna pull those darker colors in towards the center. Okay, go on top of it. It helps to blend it. Okay, and I think you do just a little bit more blending over here, trying to remove any harsh lines. You know, I want that blend of the light to the dark. Okay. Okay, he is done. And now I'm ready to take him and add him to a cute card. So he's gonna be our focal point. Our card base is Petal Pink, and it is 5.5 by 8.5. And I have some score lines here that I've already done. So I've scored it in half at 4 1/4. Let's give that a good burnish. Okay, where did my bone folder go? Here it is. I did not put it away. So that's my 4 1/4. And then I've also scored it from this edge over here at 1 1/4. Yep, I had to double check. So 4 1/4, and then from this edge on your trimmer, 1 1/4. And we're gonna fold this one back. And I really like this. This is it's a Z fold. It's a play on a Z fold, but I really like this particular layout right here like that, okay? So that's how it folds shut. And then this is the piece of Designer Series paper I'm gonna use. The back side is Calypso Coral Spots. And we're gonna trim this up, okay? So we're gonna need a piece that is 2.5 inches wide. So I want 2.5 inches wide. So let's just get 2.5 inches wide by 5.5. 2.5 by 5.5. So we'll just chop that off, okay? That's our Designer Series paper, but what I want to do now is cut it right up the middle. So I'm gonna put this in at 1 1/4. Okay, and keep these in order because we're gonna glue them to our card base here. And so this one here will go there, this one will go here, and then that way, even though we're gonna cover it up and you might not see it, the pattern does still go together. So we can do one at a time. Here, so I'll just get some glue on our DSP. Flip that around. Okay, so this fits this front Z-fold flap. Either you guys are really, really quiet today and not saying a word, or my comments just are not working, which is no fun, because I would answer them. Because it just shows all I see on my screen is that Terry DeFont is watching. Okay, so here's my second piece of DSP. Just make sure you're matching your pattern. Okay. All right, so that's our layout right there. That's our card base. Since we are open, let's put a piece of paper right in there. So this piece is, I think it's just shy of 3 inches. Yep, 3 by 5. And so this piece is going to layer inside there, but just make sure that you could have it stick out, but I kind of like that it's hidden. So I finally can see a comment. I know I missed that you can't see. So the comments just started flowing in finally. So Terry says there are lots of us watching and commenting. Now so Karen, yours and Terry's, those were the first comments I could see. I don't know why it does that. Okay, so my piece of white that is 3 by 5.5 is going to set right inside my card here. So now I have a space here that I can write on or stamp or whatever we want to do. Karen, it's always fun to chat with you. Well, it makes class a whole lot more fun when I know that there's people out there. I'm just, when you don't see them coming, you're just like, keep going. You got to finish. Okay, so here is the start of my card. I want to do some stamping on this though. And so I'm going to use, I had to see if I had ink on this. This is the flower image. And I'm going to use some petal pink ink. And I'm going to stamp some flowers here. Let's see. I'm just going to I'm going to do some flowers here. And so these are full strength. I'm going to move out just a little bit. And I'm just going to kind of vary them up where they're going. Jacqueline, we're chatting away. And I'm ignoring you. I'm not ignoring anybody. I'm just not seeing them. But now I am. So, okay, that just barely shows. Okay, that's looking good. I like that. So I have just a little bit of stamping there. Hopefully you can see that. All right, there's that. And now let's look at our die cuts here. So this die cut is from the Fluffiest Friends. It's this one right here that to me is the beehive, or it can be kind of an opening in a, maybe it's, the hollow of a tree. I don't know. But that's what I've cut here ahead of time. And this is basic white. But I'm actually going to turn this direction, and it's going to go like that. So we're using this die completely in a different way than it was intended. Okay, so I'm going to stamp this with the greeting from Be My Valentine that says, "You'll always be the one for me." But this is not a bee themed card. So I am going to bring in a piece of Scotch tape, and I am going to mask off the second E in the word bee. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, get that right in there. Okay, and I'm going to ink this up with Shaded Spruce because that's my color for this card. So ink it up with the Scotch tape on. Now remove the Scotch tape. Put that in the trash. Check your fingers. And this is going to stamp in the upper, oops, I'm glad I checked it because I didn't tape it off very well. So I'm just going to remove some of that ink right there. Gotta get it off really, really well. Give a huff on that since it's been a second or two. And this is gonna go up in the corner here. Just like that, okay? I've got a little speck of it right there. I'm not gonna worry, it's handmade. Now I'm gonna stamp the flowers again. Let me bring in some scratch paper because I might stamp off the edge here. So I'm going to stamp some flowers. This time they're going to be green. So I've got some that are going to be right about here. Just putting this little cat in a little bit of a garden area. And we'll do some right there. Cool, cute, cute. Okay, so we're gonna color our flowers the same way we colored our flowers that are in the pot, or the flower in the pot. So I have a little bit of shaded spruce, and so I'm just gonna hit these leaves with light shaded spruce, and I'm not gonna do so much, you know, just because these are such little areas, I'm not gonna worry about blending. I'm just gonna basically, you know, give them a quick swoosh of color. So that was light shaded spruce. The centers, oh, my mom has popped on. Hello, mother. She knows what that's from. Okay. This is boho blue in the center of the flower. And so my colors, again, are being, you know, I'm taking the cue from the DSP. So my DSP has shaded spruce, boho, calypso, flirty, petal. So that's where all of these colors are coming from. And I'm going to go back to my petal pink. And now I've noticed that sometimes what happens with this petal pink, I'm trying not to hit the shaded spruce little lines in there. I'm kind of coloring around them, because what happens is it has a tendency to smear that ink just a little bit. And then I'm not getting a crisp petal pink. I'm getting kind of a muddy pink here and there. So that's why I'm kind of not, it's like I'm almost making the letter C around the lines that are in the flowers there. Okay. So it helps if I color all of them though. All right. There you have it. Okay. You see that one little spot right there? Let's see if I can get that gone. I don't know if I can. I've kind of waited too long, but we'll try. We'll give an effort. Okay. Good. Now that's, you know, that saying, you'll always be the one for me, is cute, but it's not a play on the word be. Okay. All right. Let's put this together. We have some dimensionals that we're going to need. So I'm going to just flip this over this way for right now so I can see where I'm going to put my dimensionals, because we only want it right there and there. We just don't want it to stick in other places. And we'll do one more for good measure. Like, I really need that many, but it's a matter of keeping it from sagging at this point. Guess I could have moved them in a little closer. Now I can just flip this back over, and this will sit right on that edge there. And kitty, we're going to put the kitty right in here like that. So I need to put some dimensionals on that. Okay. Just don't want them on the feet because they hang off the edge, and so I don't want them to show or stick. Okay, just like that. So we're almost done, folks. We have a few more things we're gonna add. Okay, this is the braided trim. You're gonna cut yourself a piece that you can go up and around the card and tie a nice bow. And I've done that ahead of time. And so here that is. And for my original card, what I did is I'm going to pull some threads out of this, okay? So I'm going to pull one thread. That's what's cool about this braided trim, is the braided trim, one, it will curl for you, like curling ribbon, which is super cool. And two, you can kind of break it down like this and get different thicknesses and whatnot. So that's 2 strands. Let's go ahead and get one more. We're going to go for 3 here. And then it leaves you with, you know, you've got some here left over. You could even just use this on the card, but I'm just going to use these 3. This is what I did originally. And I'm going to put the 3, I'm just going to hold them together. Okay, so I'm just kind of working them, and I'm going to tie this up and around my card front here. And I'll wiggle it into place in just a minute. Okay, so I'm just going to make the bow even for now. Then, like I say, I'll wiggle it into place. Okay. And we'll shorten this loop here. Shorten this loop. Okay, tighten it down. Okay, now I'm going to wiggle this way just a little bit. And I'm going to wiggle this upward. Okay, so it kind of just sits right about there. Let me trim my ends. We'll make them even here. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna hold them together, give them a trim. Okay, look how cute that card front is. We're gonna add a little bit of bazing with our blooming pearls. I'm using these up, as I mentioned earlier. These were from the last Studio Ink Spots camp. So I'm going to use a big one of the pinks. We'll put that right here, kind of fill in this area. And here's a small pearl. These really were great pearls. I love them. Okay, and I'm going to do one more little one right there. There you have it. Okay. And of course you can add a little wink of Stella if you want. But I'm going to add just a little bit more stamping on the inside. So I'm going to open up my card, bring back our shaded spruce and the floral image. And we're going to stamp some flowers down here on the bottom. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and I'm going to stamp it again. 1, 2, 3, and I have just a little bit of room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean my stamp here. Let me clean this off on some scratch paper here, best I can. Then, the reason I'm stamping off like that, look how nice and new my chamois is. I was trying to get a lot of that ink off, but look how much still came off. Happiness is a new chamois. Thanks, Kayleen. Okay, and now I'm just going to ink up the one image. Just the one flower, this single flower. Good. And we'll just tuck that right in there. Just like that. And then I'm going to add the Love You that we had from the first card. Okay, let's give it a quick clean since it was Misty Moonlight. We want Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to tuck this right in here and make it part of the grouping of flowers there. Okay. And so you can come in and finish these off just the way we did the ones on the front. So a little bit of shaded spruce in the leaves. And I'm okay if I've left a little bit of white space in them. That's character. Okay, and then we'll do the blue center, the boho blue center. Put these away. Soft sea foam can get put away. Boho. We'll boho in the centers there. And then, of course, you can take your petal pink. And I'm going to use dark petal pink. And because it's so small, I'm not going to do all that blending. But again, I'm just going to kind of just add just a touch of color here and there, trying not to blend that shaded spruce. I think it also helps if you really let your ink dry, but since I just stamped it, it's, you know, easier to pick up that ink. Okay, look at that, folks. We have another cute Fluffiest Friends card completed. So there it is in the open position. Okay, and here it is. Here's my original in the shut. Okay, cuteness. I think that this particular Z fold is kind of fun, and I think it's great for showing off some of your DSP. All right, so I'm just kind of arranging things here. Okay, so here's our cute cat card. Cute cat card, that's fun. Second one is done. Now let's move on to our third card for today. And our third card is going to be the bear. The bear is my favorite. I just think he is super, super cute. Let's bring him in here. Here's the bear. And our colors for this card, we are going to use Pretty Peacock. So this is a half sheet of Pretty Peacock. So Karen says, I may have to break out my old Hey Love critters. Yeah, and make these. So, and that's exactly right, Karen, is go to your stash. Do you have to have the Fluffiest Friends set? No. But it's like, oh, I have the pandas or the frogs from previous celebrations or whatever you might have. Is look into your stash and make something similar. Needed a quick drink. Make something similar and then share it. Okay, so this is 8.5 by 5.5. I've scored it at 4 1/4. Okay, and then I've also scored it at, so if I'm putting this end into my trimmer here, actually I can't because it's over, it goes over the edge, but I just twist things around because I know I wanted my score line at 2 1/8. So at 2 1/8, you're going to make a score line on the one side. Okay, so let's see here. So Jen says that work gets in the way, but she is jumping on. Good. So this is kind of, this is more of a true Z fold. Cute. Karen says, hey, buddy. But what did Jacqueline say? Look at that. Okay. Good times, folks. Okay, so here is my Z fold. So again, my score lines are at 2 1/8 and 4 1/4. That makes it easier than what I said before. So I'm going to use a piece of DSP, a couple pieces of DSP here. Let me show you. So from your Garden Walk DSP, we are going to pull out this piece here. Okay, you're going to need one of those. And you're going to need this piece here. So here's our color combo here, folks, for our bear card. And the pieces that you're going to need, let me show you. So this piece here is 4 by 5 1/4, and it's going to lay right in there. Easiest can be, 4 by 5 1/4. Let's just give this a quick glue. Okay. And then just set this down on the center. So it's going to look something like that. Easy enough. I am loving that DSC. Thanks to previous projects you've made. It really is pretty DSP. It really, really is pretty. Okay, I've got a couple more pieces here. So this is part of what's left over from this piece. But make sure your flowers are going the right direction. It's going to center right in here. So this piece is 1 7/8 by 5 1/4. Okay. Yeah, this is a good combo for the bear. Okay, and I have to tell you guys, this card base here was sitting on my stamp desk. I had started something and then I never finished it. And so as I was looking for things to do with this class, I thought, well, let's use up the garden walk. And then I had this card sitting there and I'm like, oh, it's perfect for the bear. I sold you on Meandering Meadows. Meandering Meadows is cool, you guys. It's real, and I think it's going to be around just a little while. Okay, so here's my other piece of DSP. This one is the same size, but again, it's that second pattern. There's that kind of poinsettia pattern on that side. This one is 1 7/8 by 5 1/4, and it's going to sit right in here like that. Karen says, I usually get all the critters, but Elizabeth sold me on the Meandering Meadows this time. Okay, here's the thing, folks. I think this stamp set or your critter set actually would juxtapose with that Meandering Meadows or whatever the name of the paper is. And I was going to do that, but I had this out and I'm like, oh, I'm going to use this up because Meandering Meadows is that paper is still around. This one is retiring and I'm thinking I got to stick with my motto of using it up. Okay, this is a piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock. The size of this is 2 inches by 3. So you need a 2-inch by 3-inch piece of Pretty Peacock. And then I have scored it at 3/4, 1.5, and whatever that is. I can't do the math in my head. The 3/4 math, 2.5, okay? No, that's not right. 2 1/4. Okay, so our measurements are, you're gonna score at 3/4, 1.5, and 2 1/4. Okay, so you have 3/4-inch pieces in here. So we're just gonna fold inward on all of these. Okay, so fold it in half, and then these are in half. And so this is, can you see how I have this right now? I'm gonna put glue on these 2 tabs here. Okay, just getting some glue in here. And then this is going to sit right in the center right here. Okay, just let that set up for a minute. So this is going to be our pop-up mechanism. I need to let it set up for just a second longer. Let me give that a good press. So just burnish that adhesive. Okay, so this is a Z-fold with a little pop out. Okay, so, and then kind of train your card once it's setting up. So everything's laying flat. It's popping open, but it is laying flat, if you know what I mean. I could get it in an envelope. It's not wonky. All right, so there is my card base. So let's move along with our stamping. We need to stamp the bear. We're going to stamp the bear with Pretty Peacock, because that's our key color, right? Our card base color. I will typically, not always, but a lot of times I will use that as my cue for what I want to stamp with. Okay, so here goes the bear. This bear is super cute. Big chubby honey-eating bear. Okay, so you'll need to die cut that, and there is a die. We showed these at the beginning. Here's his die right there. Obviously, you would flip it over. Okay, so we got to cut the bear out, and I've done that ahead of time. Here's my bear, and we're going to color him. Let's see, what are we going to color him? He is going to be kind of a funky color, kind of like everything else we've done. All right, I'm not going to use the Pretty Peacock just yet, but I'm going to color my bear. Let's see. He is going to be Lost Lagoon. To me, that's the sister color of Pretty Peacock. It's just lighter. So there's my Lost Lagoon. And I'm going to use Petal Pink for his face. So I'm going to get my Petal Pink out. His honey is going to be Wild Wheat. Again, we're pulling colors from, you know, taking the cues from the cardstock here. So we have the Wild Wheat honey, and then we're going to do a Flirty Flamingo pot. And I think that's it for right now. Okay, so let's start with the, this is Petal Pink. So I'm just going to color his face and the inside of his ears with a lot of Petal Pink, and his pad on his paw. Okay, you love the critter colors. You know, you can do them like, you know, more like what nature would be, or just, these are cute. They're meant to be fanciful. So just, what is your world? What color are bears in your world? Mine are green. Okay, you saw that I just added quite a bit of dark Petal Pink down this one side that's been, you know, they've given those little hash marks. So I'm finished with Petal Pink. Now let's do the Lost Lagoon. So I want light Lost Lagoon. Here's my light. And you know, I'm just gonna do a quick fill of almost this whole bear. Happiness is a nice juicy blend, okay? To where you can just fill this in, kind of staying away from the pot. Get his leg. Just get a good layer of ink color in here, just kind of getting the paper wet so that as we add other color, it will blend nicely. Coming around that pot. Okay. Okay. Now I've got these kind of funny lines in here, so I do want to make them more so that they're not so, you know, I don't want them to be quite too unnatural looking. Let's get in and around his ear. Okay, that was the light. Now I'm going to come in with the bullet end of my dark Lost Lagoon and just come in here where all these little hash marks are from Stampin' Up. And let's just add some of that. Let's get a little dark under his chin. Okay, his chin would be creating that shadow. Okay, where these little hash lines are, that's where I'm adding more hash lines of my dark Lost Lagoon. Oh, we didn't do his foot. Okay, so that's the dark Lost Lagoon. And now let's take the light. I'm going to use the bullet end here just for his foot so I can get around his little toes, his pads. But I'm going to take the bullet and drag and blend those hash marks in towards the center. So I'm just adding more color there. Okay. And then you can add as much or as little, just have some fun. But there's my cute bear. Now he needs his honey pot. So light, wild wheat. Just gonna fill this real fast. Scratchy, scratchy. And then dark wild wheat. Done there. Let's give him a pot. We'll start with the light Flirty Flamingo. Okay, so there's my light Flirty Flamingo. Here comes the dark. And this is where, kind of like that flower pot we did, I'm going to bring in some dark here, kind of trace things, bring it around, really carry that dark, and it looks kind of funny right now, but let's blend by dragging the color in towards the center and give it some character. Trying to blend so we don't have those harsh lines anywhere. Okay. And I see one little spot that I need to fix with some light. Lost Lagoon. We didn't get his little hand over here. There we go. Okay, my bear is done. Cute, cute, cute. Now let's start working on the card here. Let's start the layout going. So I have the same die we used last time. This to me looks like the beehive. And so I've die cut this from Petal Pink, and then I've used one of those online exclusives. This is the Basics Combo Pack. This time I've used the hobnail, okay? So there's the hobnail, and that's going to set on my card base, kind of right about just a little below center. And I'm going to glue this on. So I'm going to flip my my beehive, my honey hive. I'm going to flip it over and add my glue like so. Okay. And that's going to come down just like that. Okay. Make sure I don't have glue showing. Perfect. Now I also have a strip of, this is Flirty Flamingo, And that's going to come across the bottom here. I could have it go all the way across or just partially. But I'm going to stamp this with a one of the Be My Valentines. Remember I said I liked combining this honey bear with some of the greetings from the Be My Valentine. So this greeting says, "You're as sweet as honey." So just ink up the whole thing. And I'm going to stamp this on the one end. And then I'll trim off the excess. Get a good impression there. Nice. You're as sweet as honey. So that was Shaded Spruce. Let me trim this off. And we'll add this to the bottom of the beehive. So no real set measurement on this. It's just cut to fit the greeting. Okay, and I'm going to glue this across the bottom of the hive, and I'm going to put my glue on the hive because I don't want any of the glue showing from behind because of the, you'd see it on the Z fold here. So I'm just going to center this right across the bottom, just like so. Okay, let's put the bear in here, and he's going to sit here eating away his honey. I'm gonna put 3 on here. Okay. Okay. Just like so. Okay, so we need to embellish this and have some fun. And so the first bit of fun, we're going to go ahead and this is the largest circle from Stylish Shapes, and I've cut it from white, and I'm going to add this to the inside. And so as you know, I developed my card here, I think this is just kind of a fun accent for the top of this beehive. I'm just going to call it a bunny hive. Okay, we're going to stamp a greeting though on the inside. We're going to stamp "You'll always be the one for me." This is where I think we can use the pun. So we'll ink up the whole thing and just stamp it right in the center or close to it. And that is Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to shut Shaded Spruce because we're done with it. And I'm going to bring out, well, we're not done with it. I lied. At least I've only lied once today and haven't had a major catastrophe. Yeah, I haven't batted out. Of course, I have caught ink here and there, but that's not as bad. But I want to use this little, it's kind of like the beehive, like it's flying all around. So I'm going to put that on this block here. And let's see, let's pull this one off so we can see what we're doing. Okay, I'm going to use wild wheat here, and I'm going to stamp kind of some fun little bee trails, the flight of the bumblebee here. So maybe we'll kind of go right and I tried to cover that little mark there, but I struck out. That's okay. And then we'll do another one kind of up in here. Cute, 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 cute. So now that we have these crazy bee lines, flight of the bees, let's stamp the bees in Shaded Spruce. And I'm going to do several of them. We'll do some like right here. Bzz. Upside down bees. Nice. I like that. It's totally okay, right? And we'll do some right there. Okay, so we've got some bee action. We'll kind of let that dry for just a second before we come in and hit that with a little bit of Stampin' Blends color. But I also wanted to just take a piece of white paper, and what we're going to do is just color our paper, and we're going to use our blends to make our own custom colored paper. So I'm going to do a little bit of wild wheat here. And I'm kind of going in both directions. This is wild wheat. I'm coming over here on this side, blending that way. I'm going to blend it just a little bit more. And that is just big enough that I can die cut this little beehive. And so that's for that. Then we're gonna color some more paper here. I'm gonna use some pebbled path. And so my pebbled path, I need about that much space. Terry says, I'm loving all the colors of the critters. Yeah, my critters are like weird colors, but that's okay. So there's my pebbled path scribbles. And my pebbled path scribble, I want to die cut 2 of these branches. Okay, then I'm gonna take my pretty peacock and Lost Lagoon, and I'm gonna color up a bunch of paper. That's probably enough. And this is exactly how I did it, folks. Scritchy, scratchy, back and forth. You want these variations because then it makes your finished pieces not be quite just like one solid color, which is why I'm choosing not to use cardstock, because I wanted these leaves and things to have a more unique look, a more textural, okay? So there's all my scritchy, scratchy for that. And so on this, you're just gonna add all of these leaves, put them all down and cut them twice. So 2 branches, 1 beehive, and a whole bunch of leaves. And folks, I have that done ahead of time because you don't want to sit there and watch me do that. So here's my beehive. Look how cute that turned out. You know, there's my beehive. And my branches are pebbled path, right? But I feel like I need them to be just a little bit warmer and tie into my paper, because if I bring my branches in here, they look okay. They're actually okay. But I preferred to actually take my wild wheat, and even though they're gonna be brown, I'm taking my wild wheat and just brushing over them just to warm them up just a little bit, to really tie them into the paper a little bit better. So there's without the wild wheat, and here's without, here's with, okay? So it just, either is okay. I just like how this ties back to the DSP, you know, a little bit better. So just a real quick swoosh of wild wheat on top of that. There's my branch. There's my other branch. And my beehive. And then I have a whole bunch of leaves over here to the side. I'll leave them in the little container. They're right here. But they're upside down because they have glue dots on them already. So let's just take a look at how we're gonna put this together here. So this piece here is gonna be on the pop out. So we need just a teeny bit of glue right there. We'll lay this flat. And this is going to go right on that pop out, like so. Yeah, some of that peeks through, not to worry. It's actually going to get more stuff on it in a second here. Okay, so let's give this a quick color. I'm just going to use some light wild wheat and just color in these little bee bodies. These upside down bee bodies. Can bees fly upside down? Well, are there blue bears? Okay. And then here's my favorite little trick, or not trick, but I like adding Wink of Stella to the wings because it gives them, just kind of looks cool. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Okay. And while it's out, maybe just emphasize the honey here and his nose. Okay. So my bees are done. Now all we have left to do is to start adding all of our embellishments here, our branches and all that fun stuff. Okay, so for my branch, I'm going to start with the beehive first and then attach the branch. So my beehive is just going to come right over top of him like that. And then we'll take one of these branches and I'll use my little precision tip here on my glue. So this is green cap glue, but in one of these little precision tips, okay? And so I'm going to hang it from this little nubby here. So his branch is kind of coming this way. Well, maybe just a little bit more. Okay. There's that branch. And this branch here is going to be actually on the inside. Okay, I'm just adding glue. And we'll open this up, and it's going to just kind of set right in here. Okay, so there it kind of looks like the branch is coming from both areas. All right, now on so my leaves here are my leaves. See how they're not all just one solid color. I already have some mini dimensionals on them because you don't want to sit there and watch me do that. And I'm just going to start adding these and just start building my tree branch. So you can see, like on our second card, that was a pretty simple layout, and we weren't adding a whole bunch of fun little gizmos and whatnot, but this just gives you a good idea that you can add other things to the card because there are some fantastic accent dies in this little kit, in this bundle. So yes, this is going to cover that bee, but that's okay. That's totally fine. I'm just going to continue to add leaves to the tree here. And the little smaller leaves I'm going to actually attach with glue and kind of layer them underneath. Okay, so these are the double leaves. Okay, that one might show, and that one has a lot of white showing. So I'm just going to come in with one of my Lost Lagoon and just blend this one leaf. It's a little too crazy for me. This one might blend a little bit more as well. Yeah, looking cute. Okay, and let's see. Then I have all these small, tiny little leaves right here, and we'll just add these in as well. Okay. Oh, that is not where I wanted it to land. Just pick that guy up. Hopefully it didn't get too much glue on it. Okay, so there's one leaf. Like I say, we'll just add these in to fill things out and make it look like a fuller tree. And, you know, add as many or as few as you want. I'm going to add some in here. Cuteness. You can make them as many or as dark as you want when you're using your blends to create your own, you know, custom little pieces of paper. Let's do this one as well. Okay, I like this little dental end, like whatever this claw thingy is. But just give it a look. Okay, I feel like I could have a few more leaves right in there. So maybe I'll glue some in there. Okay, maybe a couple more leaves. So maybe one that's coming up right in there. Yeah, that's cute. And I think I want some over here as well, just a couple. Okay, that direction. We'll do one more the other direction, but I feel like I need to define that leaf a little bit more than what it is. So I'll do that with my blend. Jacqueline, this card is awesome. Well, I know it's awesome, but it is cute. It is really cute in person. Okay, so I'm just, like I say, I'm just defining this leaf. If I can figure out where the leaf is, just a little bit more than what it is. Okay, there you have it. All right, so almost done, but look how cute that is. Here's what I'm gonna add to it. I'm gonna add a piece of white to the back because you need some place to sign it. So, and you could stamp this if you wanted. I would probably add, did I add? Oh, I did. I'll show you what I added to the back of this on my original here. You don't need to see me do it because you guys all know how to stamp. But here is the back of my original. So I just did more of the bee. That makes it cute. But now you have a place to sign. Okay, so you'll stamp it cute. And now let's add just a few embellishments here on the card. I'm gonna add some pearls. This time I'm gonna add you could add green or you could add the gold, either one. My original, I added gold. Maybe on this one, we add the green. So this is the lighter green because I don't have any of the little peacock ones anymore. So I'm just gonna do there, and we'll do one right here with it, and then we'll do one more little dude right here. Okay, and then I'm going to use the Calypso Coral braided trim, and you could use it, you know, at full weight, or if you remember, we have some of this size. It could be either one, but I'm going to use some of this, and I'm just going to tie a bow. A very weird bow, but we'll fix that. Actually, I need just a little bit more tail than that. Okay, that's a lot more tail. Okay, that's okay. We're using it up. So I have a fairly decent sized bow here. And I'm going to trim my ends so that they're even. Okay. And I wanted to share with you guys, so this cool braided trim, I'm just using my fingernails here. I'm just running it like kind of you would over like curling ribbon, the blade of a scissor over curling ribbon. And then this is just going to attach right in here and make this a super playful card with a big old bow. And you can use glue for this bow, or you can use a glue dot if I brought some, but I didn't. So it's going to just go right there. And my tails might be a little bit long. My bow might even be a little bit big. So I'll scale it back just a little. Maybe trim my ends just a little. Okay. And add that right there. But like I say, I forgot to bring glue dots with me. You know what? For now, I'm just going to use a dimensional. I am not going to keep this dimensional here because that is way too much for this bow. But at least it gives you the idea of where I want that to go. Okay. Crazy little ends here. Just train it in the direction you want it to go. But I just love that it's curly and that it's kind of like, it's reminiscent of the bees, you know, flying around. Okay, so a little bit of a big bow. I might have to edit that a little bit. But I wanted you to see, oops, I have another leaf here. I'm going to do this one last leaf. Cool. All right. So I thought I had more big ones. So there you go. You have it. But my original here, I've done in a slightly different color palette. I originally did a wild wheat beehive, but then I thought it was kind of a lot of wild wheat. So that's why for this card, I switched it up just a little bit and did a petal pink, and I kind of changed my color. So you tell me which one has the better color palette. I don't know. It's just kind of, it's a mood thing, I guess. So let me get these guys so they're not quite so crazy. But there you have it. We are finished with our Fluffiest Friends cards. Got that crazy bow there going. So here's our classic Z fold with the bear. Here's our slightly different variation on the B fold, Z fold with the cat. And then we have our damn card. This is our damn card. Sorry. Jacqueline, I prefer the petal pink as well. which is why, you know, when you're making the card for a second time, you have that opportunity to make some of those little bit of adjustments. But there you have it. That's our Fluffiest Friends class. I will take pictures and get these posted for you guys if you want to take a look at them. Terry, I'm with you. I like the petal pink one. It's the other color palette is a little bit harsh. So a little garish even. So fun word, garish. Okay, so don't forget, next week, we're going to use the Be My Valentine Sweet Collection and make some Valentines. Oh, I forgot. Don't let me forget. So those are the cards we made. Here's a few more from earlier. You may have seen these. This one here, this is using the Lighter Than Air DSP. And this, you know, we have a few more of the critters coming to the party here. We've added, we don't know what this is. Is this a chipmunk? Is it a hamster? Is it a guinea pig? I don't know. It's a rodent. We've got the little chick and the bunny. So they're going to a birthday party here. I think this is a cute card. Didn't do anything on the inside yet, but maybe someday. And then this one also. So using that, the beehive. This one, if you'll notice, the stamp is actually, "You're as sweet as honey." It's that long one. I just stamped it 3 separate times to kind of rearrange that greeting. And then the word honey is actually in wild wheat. So here you can see those leaves a little bit. They kind of pop out a little bit more on these papers. Again, this is the Lighter Than Air DSP. And then this one, this is a card. These are scraps. This is totally scraps off my desk. But again, this guy was a scrap. These flowers were scraps. The beehive was scrap. But I did the same treatment for the leaves and branches on this that I did on the last card, where I colored my paper with blends to get my own custom textural papers. And they are coated heavily, I don't know if you can see it, heavily with Winkostella. Okay, there you have our Fluffiest Friends class. I will have a whole bunch of Be My Valentine samples for you next week, as well as a class. So don't forget to sign up for Technique Time and Studio Ink Spots. I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.